The episode starts with Dolores waking up in her bed, but it's nighttime. She walks out of her house, and the question, "Do you remember?" echoes. The scene shifts to two men traveling. They reach their destination, Westworld. One of the men, William, is coming here for the first time. They get down. His friend jolts away, and he is greeted by a woman, probably a host. She takes her on a tour and asks him a few questions about him having any medical condition, heart problem or mental illness. He responds by saying no. But when she asks him about having social anxiety, he snaps and says, "What is this all for?" She replies it is just to make sure he does not get anything he cannot handle. She tells him that he is going to start at the center of the park where everything is simple and easy, but the further he goes, it gets more exciting. She takes him to a room of all the things he would possibly need. She confesses that she is a host and tries to seduce him, but he politely refuses. In the lab, Bernard asks Elsie about the builds of the new narrative. She tells him that she thinks Dolores' father was triggered by the photograph. She tells Bernard that she knows he covered for the mistake made by Ford and asks permission to rebuild Abernathy. She thinks what the host had might have transferred to Dolores, but Bernard nullifies her assumptions. Back in the town, Dolores can be seen doing her work, but this time, something is different. The noises in the background are affecting her. She stands still in the middle of the road. Maeve asks her to move, but instead of moving, she replies by saying what his father said to her earlier. Violent delights have violent ends. She goes away, but Maeve stands there, worried. Back in the room, William dresses up as a cowboy and then enters the train. A moment later, his friend also joins him. He tells William to leave his hard exterior and that this place seduces people, and at the end he would be begging to stay. In the town, Sheriff is hanging someone to death when the man in black arrives. He threatens to eliminate them all if they do not let him talk to the man being hanged. They don't budge, so he eliminates everyone. He tells the man, Lawrence, that Kissy sent him this way and he will help him find the deeper level of the game. At the bar, Maeve is telling a man that a voice keeps telling her what to do and what not to, and this voice leaves only in the dreams, where she could be free. But after waking up, the voice starts over again. So, she ran away. At this exact moment, she sees some flashbacks of someone being laid to rest and she herself being held. She goes into a trance. The scene switches to Maeve being back in the lab. She is being questioned by a man. He says that everything looks good and he would sleep with her because she is a hooker. The technician responds by saying that the guests would not, and they need to get her numbers back up or else she would be decommissioned. Later, Bernard tells Ford that they have retired 2 hosts, and he never knew how hard it would be. Ford says that there is something else that is bothering. He states that a picture alone would not have triggered Abernathy, and someone else is sabotaging it all. At Westworld, William and his friend get off the train. They go to the bar, but on the way, William helps a host that falls down, but his friend tells him not to. Dolores can be seen tending to her horse, but when she sees her reflection in the mirror, she stops doing her work. The scene then shifts to Dolores being in the lab with Bernard. He asks if she had told anyone about their little meetups, and she says no. He asks her about how many encounters she has been in and if anyone altered her core heuristics. She says no. He tells her not to tell anyone about it because her behavior is fascinating for him, but might not be for others. He orders her to wipe out this interaction and leaves. At the bar, Maeve tries to flirt and seduce with a woman, but she says thank you and leaves. Maeve talks to another hooker, Clementine, and it turns out that she is having nightmares. Maeve advises her what to do to get out of a nightmare and then gulps her sherry. Once again, the flashbacks come back accompanied by a pain in abdomen. At the lab, a man tells Stubbs that Maeve is on probation, but her performance is not improving. Stubbs orders for her to be recalled back to the lab in the morning and be decommissioned. Later, Bernard goes over to Thressa, and they talk about the launch and the update. She asks about the updated hosts, and he says that he is not worried because everything is back to normal. Thressa leaves and later Bernard smirks. Back at the park, William and his friend are having a meal when the man, who William helped earlier, comes up to them and offers to take him treasure hunting. But William's friend stabbed him in his hand. The scene turns to William's friend having sex with some of the hosts. Clementine says that it sounds like his friend is having fun, but William says that he would not call him his friend. She tries to seduce him, but he is not affected. She even tries to find another host who is his type. But instead of giving in to her attempts, he refuses because someone is waiting for him at home. At the lab, new hosts are being made, sculptured, and then dressed. Lee is checking the new hosts for his new narrative. He does not like the nose of one of the hosts and gets angry. He shouts and orders the worker to start over. Thressa is watching all this drama unfold. She tells Lee that she got his request of retiring 50 hosts, but she cannot retire this many hosts and agrees to only retire 20 of them. Lee gets angry and calls Ford names, but Thressa ignores him and leaves. Later, Ford can be seen entering an elevator. This is an underground elevator, and it takes him to the park. A boy sees him and asks whether he is lost. He responds that he has just wandered a bit too far. The boy tells him that they are on holiday, and he is bored. Ford tells him that only boring people are those who do not get bored. He offers the boy to join him, and the boy accepts. The man in black is dragging Lawrence behind him. He brings him to his home, and Lawrence is afraid to be back. He tells Lawrence that they are friends, and he knows the whiskey he likes to drink and even the tune he likes to whistle while taking a piss. He asks why Lawrence never told him that he has a family. At this moment, a girl comes running toward them, shouting the word Papa, and hugs Lawrence. Lawrence asks him what he wants, and he responds by saying that he wants to know where the entrance of the maze is. Lawrence says that he has nothing to tell him. At this, the man in black hands 2 bullets to Lawrence's daughter, and to prove how serious he is, he fires a bullet straight through the bartender's heart. He tells Lawrence that he has been coming here for the past 30 years, and he enjoys killing. He stands up and kills all the people who gathered there and tried killing him. He dances with Lawrence's wife and shoots her in the head. Lawrence's daughter tells him that the maze is not meant for him, but he says that he will take his chances. She tells him to follow the blood arroyo to the place where the snake lays its eggs. After getting his answer, he once again ties Lawrence with his horse and sets off on the journey. In the meantime, Ford and the boy are roaming. A rattlesnake tries to attack them, but Ford stops him with just a gesture and makes him go away. While looking at the snake, a place catches his eye, and he tells the boy that it is better if he goes back. In the next scene, Bernard is at his place. He removes his coat when someone knocks at the door. It is Theresa. She said she came here because he was not in his office. He invites her in and starts kissing her deeply. Later in his bed, when she is about to leave, he stops her so that they can talk. She lies down with her head on his chest, and they discuss his creations. After talking, she kisses his chest and neck fervently. The scene shifts to Maeve being examined by Elsie, even though it was an order to decommission her. Elsie tells the technician to bump up her emotional acuity and to put up a request for a full physical analysis. Instead of being decommissioned, she is sent back to the town. Back at work, Maeve seduces a man but sends him with Clementine. She sees Teddy at the bar and talks to him, but he is shot dead by a drunk guest. Later at night, Maeve gets the same flashback with a sharp pain in her abdomen. She lies down and dreams about a young girl playing with. The dream switches to her being attacked and being in the middle of a fight. She takes the girl and runs back to her house and takes out a rifle. The door barges open and the man in black enters. She tries to shoot him but in vain. He takes out his knife, and she counts back from 3 to wake up from this dream. In the present, Maeve is on a bed and is being examined by doctors. It turns out there is MRSA in her abdomen. She suddenly wakes up, and both the doctors are shocked. She gets up from the bed, gets her hand on a scalpel, and points it at them. They try to talk to her, but instead, she gets aggressive. She then runs away naked. She is in the lab, but she has no idea about her whereabouts, and it is all new to her. Running, she reaches a place where other bodies are being stitched by the doctor. She stands there shocked, but before she could do anything, the doctors arrive and inject her in the neck. Dolores once again wakes up in the middle of the night, gets up and goes outside of her house. She digs the ground and takes out a pistol. Back at the lab, Lee is telling others about his new storyline. He names it The Odyssey on Red River, but Ford declines the storyline by saying that the guests do not come back for these cheap thrills, they come back for the details. They are not looking for a story that will tell them who they are. They want to know who they could be. Back in the town, Dolores drops her can, and Teddy picks it up. But this time, something is different, something which is not part of the storyline. The episode ends with Ford bringing Bernard to the place he saw earlier. Bernard says that the board of directors will get angry because they were promised a new storyline. Ford tells him that the board will get a new story, something original, something on which he has been working for some time.